I would like to start recording. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay. Okay. We're live. We're live. We're live. 2 minutes, please. You know what that means. You know. You know what it means. You know what it means, right? You know what it means. Mm. Mm-mm. 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 Mm. Mm-mm. 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 Women alarm? Yeah, yes. Hello, hello. Good morning, Big D. Good to see you, my friend. 1 minute to showtime. Uno momento. Oh my gosh, dude. This morning I was burning out assignments, studying how to get a summer email to a client. Yes, that I had a conversation with yesterday. Get ready, put the show together, and good morning. Hello, hello. Dude, I can't wait. So I should be able to give you a shout. I'm in Tuesday is always like staff day, so basically meetings until like 2 o'clock. And so I should be able to. I'll put this right now. Call you at like 2:30, or like right around 2:30. Call David. Uh huh. Got it. Said it and nailed it. Okay, my bro. I got it set up. Well, good morning, business builders, and welcome to Business for Breakfast, where business is the most important middle of the day. I'm your host, Aaron Novinger, the Venti Business Guy, otherwise known as VBG. Our goal in this show is to make you 1% smarter today by unpacking business news over the last 24 hours, sprinkle with tips and tricks to help you mind your own business. Now, I know you think you're here for me, but I know you're not. Let's be honest, man. We're all here for the morning mark. All right, all right. But why? It's easy because there's no prompts required. There's no drinks. There's no gear. It's just you and a functioning brain. We'll work with what we've got. Wherever you are right now, desk, truck, kitchen, job site, standing or sitting, it don't matter. Pick one thing you will finish today. Not a list, not 10, not three, just one. Now, mark it mentally and write it down. That is the line in the sand. That's the thing the day doesn't get to erase. This is the pause that sharpens the edge, the moment that turns noise into signal. It's the tiny act that makes business owners dangerous in a good way. That, my friends, is your morning mark. Your day's officially started, peeps. All right. You drive, I dive, buckle up, buttercup, and let's roll, roll, roll. Today being Tactical Tuesday, which means every Tuesday we build something in the business. Last week we did an SOP, and the SOP was specifically to take 40 hours of HR work and make it into 4 hours. So we kind of walked through that last week. And today we're going to be building another $1,000 business. So zero. Hey, good morning, Justin. Good to see you, bro. It's going to be 0 to cash flow in 90 days. So you know that we do our business plans. We don't worry about A to Z. We obsess over A to E. So these are A to E business plans designed to start for under $1,000, cash flowing in 90 days. And actually today it's going to be cash flowing way faster than that. But you got to hang out and you got to hang on because we've got to get through this day in history, and then we got to get through some juice and news, and then we'll build this bad boy. And don't forget, at the end of every one of our episodes, we finish out with a powerful reframe from our modern day oracle, Scott Adams. He passed away January 13th of this year. I lovingly refer to him as my pops number three. That guy has changed my life in countless ways, specifically a lot with his reframes. And so that's today. I want to do a reframe with you guys at the end of every show. And here's the thing, there's a certain percentage of you guys, it's going to change your life. That's the power of a reframe. All right. Are we ready to dive in? I, let's see what's going on with this day in history. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Okay. No way. No way. This day in history. Okay. Pretty freaking cool. Okay. We had this day in history, and you guys know we do the show every day and it's live. So today being the 12th. Okay. Is it the 12th? It is the 12th. My word, it's the 12th. Leaving actually in what's my phone say when we leave for the bike ride? 20 days. I am just under 3 weeks, and this is about where the panic sets. And so, lots to do. I try to literally do in a year's worth of stuff in about 3 weeks' time, but this is kind of where everything just kind of sets. So, but this day in history being the 12th, 1941, the Z3 computer is presented. German engineer Konrad Zuse presented the Z3 in Berlin. This was a monumental leap in computational engineering, as it was the world's first working programmable, fully automatic digital computer. It utilized binary logic and floating point arithmetic, the same logic that forms the bedrock of every spreadsheet and financial tool we use today. Crazy, right? If you guys ever saw the movie The Imitation Game, about Alan Turing, it is absolutely, most of you guys have not seen it. It absolutely will be one of your favorite movies of all time. It absolutely is amazing. It's about the true story about Alan Turing. Very, very mentally, he wasn't challenged. Um, he suffered. He was basically a homosexual individual at a time where you couldn't be. And so the mental turmoil that he had was unbelievable. And so because of that, but he was the guy, and his team actually cracked the Enigma machine through MI6, and absolutely fantastic. And he built the very like one of the first like computers, but it uses like dials and turns and stuff like that. That all happened around the same time. Absolutely amazing. This day in history, 1908. Wireless radio patent for Nathan Stubblefield, self-taught inventor from Kentucky, was granted a patent for an all-purpose wireless telephone. While it used induction rather than the radio waves we use now, it was a pivotal milestone in telecom logistics, proving that human voice could be transmitted without a physical tether. Does it not just we pick these things up every day, and we don't think one time. You have to understand, I was born and alive long enough where my childhood was based off of a corded telephone, to the point where when I got my first job at age 15, I was sacking groceries at an amazing grocery store called Tom Thumb. And it was like 15, wasn't old enough to drive yet. And I almost got fired from that job so many times, not because of me, but because of my mom. So my mom, I'd be like, hey, I got to be at work in like 15 minutes. And she'd be on the phone, the tethered phone. Okay. And she'd be like, uh, don't interrupt me. Right, but I have to be at work. Right. If you interrupt me one more time, I'm going to make you late on purpose. Right, but you are already making me late on purpose. You have no concept of the amount of kids that lost their job before age 16. They could drive because a parent could not get off of their corded telephone. Yes, all you youngers today, you millennials and you Gen Zers, you hear what AA Ron is saying, and you're like, I don't believe that was real. Oh, talk to any Gen Xer, any boomer, and you will know the real story of how we had to suffer back in the day. Now you want to know why all of us we're like at age 13, how do I get in my driver's license? I have got to get way away from these psycho parents. Okay. And so the kids today, like the new generation, I was talking to my little brother, and his my nephew's like 15, and we were chatting, and he was like, yeah, like we went on vacation, came back, we're like, hey, we need to get you set up for your permit. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm not driving. Right. What 15-year-old doesn't want to drive? Right. I don't want to drive, and I don't have any plans of driving. I'm like, what? And I told him, I was like, and by the way, these kids will be living in your basement when they're 30. Trust me on that, playa. This is a telltale sign of what's to come. 1792, the invention of the modern ambulance. Yes. What? That means this thing was a freaking stagecoach, bro. Around this time, Dominique Jean Lauret, Napoleon's chief surgeon, began developing the ambulances volantes, flying ambulances. This is a masterclass in emergency logistics, creating a structured system to treat and transport wounded soldiers quickly, direct and sensorial to the medical infrastructure that supports endurance events that we see across the world. All of the post traumatic, all of the accident trauma, everything that we do came from 1792 because of Dominique Jean Larry. Insane, man. It just blows my way, not my way, my mind that you literally have people that you read about in history. One person who had a burden. We talk about this all the time. If you have a burden, you understand that the universe is demanding that you solve a problem that only you can solve. And the universe gives you time to do it. But if you don't, the universe says, I need to reassign this to somebody else. And you missed your opportunity to rewrite history. Just think about this. Dominique Jean Larrey invents the modern day ambulance, right? That's what I'm saying. Think about that. If he didn't have the burden, and think about all logistical nightmares he had to go through, all the hoops he had to jump through to make this happen. And now we have ambulances because of this dude. Care flight. I told you, I don't think I've told you guys, but my mom was hit head on by a drunk driver Christmas Eve, 1999. And Care flight transported her to, she was actually on her way to our house to do Christmas Eve with us, gets hit on by a drunk driver. Literally, Care flight shuts down the freeway, picks her up, takes her to the hospital. She dies in transport on the way to the hospital. They revive her, emergency surgery. And here we are, 27 years later, and she's a little firecracker with some more scars. That's it. A little firecracker with more scars. And so, yeah, really, really crazy, man. That wouldn't have happened because think about the Care flight. That all came from Dominique Jean Larrey from the modern day ambulance. My mom would not be here if it was not for Dominique Jean Larrey. Yeah. How many of you now have to thank Dominique for saving your family's life hundreds of years later? Yeah. Big, big, big. Today in history, 1949, the Soviet blockade of Berlin ends at 1 minute after midnight. The Soviet Union lifted the blockade of West Berlin. This was a definitive diplomatic and logistical victory, making the successful conclusion of the Berlin airlift. It remains a primary case study in crisis management and international legal accounting. What else happened this day in history? Man, I told you, man, there is a lot of powerful stuff happening. 2002, former President Jimmy Carter visits Cuba. Bro, Cuba's about to be reopened and Trump's going to basically make it a Trump resort, man. That dude literally, it's like he goes in for the sole purpose of cleaning house and bringing money into the area. And the weird thing is you might agree or disagree with Mr. Orange Man's administration and his policies, but you have to understand this guy understands the international language of love, which is money. And it is weird how as soon as we do some major damage, we send in insane amounts of money, and all of a sudden we become allies with these individuals. Think of Japan, one of our tightest allies, and we did some major, major, major damage to them less than 100 years ago. Oh, yes. Money makes us forget quickly. Winkety wink. So, yes, thank you, former President Jimmy Carter, for visiting. He became the first U.S. president to visit the island since the 1959 revolution. This was a significant diplomatic milestone, attempting to open a new chapter in the international accounting of the Cold War era. Chapter of the Cold War era. I don't know why it says international accounting. That's weird. Other than maybe we're trying to account internationally for, I don't know. Anyway, 1881, the Treaty of Bordeaux is signed. This treaty established the Tunisia as a French protectorate. This was a big, big, big study in colonial legal structures and the geopolitical mapping of North Africa. And let's talk about famous birthdays. Florence Nightingale, lady with the lamp and the founder of modern day nursing. Yes, Mrs. Nightingale. Wait a minute. Hold on. Does that mean today is? Wait a minute. It is. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It is International Nurses Day. I know. As soon as you see a famous birthday, you're like, it's got to be a day. Oh my God. Who else has a famous birthday? George freaking Carlin, literally one of the greatest comedians of our time. I'm telling you, this dude could literally teach PhD master classes in his like linguistics, precision, his recounting of facts, the way he builds and tells stories. um, his seven dirty words routine means a cornerstone case study, like regarding the First Amendment and regulation. Crazy. This was a comedian, bro. A comedian. Yes. But those comedians, bro, changed the world. You want to know who the modern day George Carlin is today? Dave Chappelle. That's right. That's right. You don't realize their brilliance until they're gone. Until you can look back, then all of a sudden you see, OMG, this dude was ahead of his time. Or this comedian was ahead of their time. So we don't have to do a gender on it. Tony Hawk, bro, birthday today, redefined skateboarding. This dude, you talk about keeping one of the longest tenured careers, and his ability to like literally can teach brand master classes, man. So literally transitioning, and he's one of the few athletes that ever did this, from the elite athlete to a like global business icon. Like there's only a handful of athletes that have been able to make this transition. Tony Hawk, one of them. Oh, bro, actress Katharine Hepburn, born 1907, four-time Academy Award-winning actress. Today's her birthday, and Yogi Berra, 1925, baseball legend. What was it? Master of the Yogiism. Why don't we just do some of Yogi Berra's Yogiisms, shall we? Just to honor our boy. What? I'm going to Google. What are some of Yogi Berra's Yogiisms? I'm not sure why my computer decided to X out. Yogiisms. Okay, you guys ready? Okay. It ain't over till it's over. It's deja vu all over again. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. It's deja vu all over again. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Like that is that is absolutely that's iconic, bro. It's deja vu all over again, bro. Oh my gosh, dude. What else happened this day in 2022, man? The first image of Sagittarius A. 4 years ago today, the Event Horizon Telescope revealed the first image of the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. What? No way. Insane. Well, let's jump into like fun facts, man. Today, obviously, because of Florence Nightingale, it's International Nurses Day. So make sure you thank your nurse. Send them a text, send them some hearts, buy them a little Starbucks, whatever. It's also National Limerick Day, and it's also National Odometer Day. What in the hell? Okay, this is easy. Every day, if we've got two or three, we have to, we've got to put them in medals, gold, silver, and bronze. We already know without even thinking, International Nurses Day is obviously gold. Thank you. And these men and women, especially during COVID, bro, you talk about absolute unbelievable rock stars, man. National Limerick Day, okay. Yeah, unbelievable. National Odometer Day. Speaking of odometer, I had to go register a car. I have a 2000 Lincoln, and because it's 26 years old, when you do, in Texas has like a certain form, and when you do the odometer, if it's over 25 years old, you can do exempt. And so that was the first time I ever was able to do exempt. But hey, a good transition for National Odometer Day is to do a little some props for our bike ride that we leave in 20 days. So you guys know I do an annual charity bike ride. I ride my bicycle from Dallas to Washington, D.C. This is our year 2 jersey, or is this called a jersey? I don't know what it's called. Anyway, my shirt. Okay. And so, yeah, if you guys want to check out what it is that we do and why we do it for to raise awareness for victims of financial crimes and Ponzi schemes. You can't sit at the table with these amazing individuals and it not change your life. And so we decided a few years ago, Rebecca and I, to kind of start this little micro movement. Just two individuals, man. We talk about it every day. You got a burden. It's the one person with a burden who ends up typically changing, everything. And so, for me, I don't know, I'm compelled to bring forth the message. And if you guys want to check out what we do, go to ponzirelief.org. That's ponzirelief.org. And you can read about what we do, how we do it, why we do it, all the goodies, right? All right. So with that being said, I think it's time to jump into some juicy news. Juicy news. Juicy news. That was an extra long juice. What? Oh my gosh. Well, look, here's our little briefing while Washington debates midterm and tariffs. Mom and pop shops are seizing real opportunities. Tariff refunds are finally flowing. SBA programs are shifting. Gas prices are pinching margins, but relief may be coming. And small business optimism ticked up in the latest NFIB index. With our permanent 20% QBI deductions locked in under last year's one big, beautiful bill act, that's the other ABA that we love. And fresh grants hitting the wire. Independent owners have actionable moves right now, man. File those refunds, apply for the training dollars, tweak pricing, and plan transitions before the retirement wave hits. Here are our top news stories of the day. The big one starting yesterday. Tariff refunds now processing for small importers. My buddy Justin has got to jump on this, bro. This dude manufacturing, and David also is manufacturing. And so this is exactly how, and it's through the Core portal. I think it's called Core Cape portal. And but there's 166 billion in refunds, and I think only like 20% of them, 20% of eligible have actually applied, and refunds started hitting yesterday. And by the way, these are not small. We're talking like 30K to 300K. Like, and by the way, more than that. That's just a good range. We're not talking small potatoes. We talking Idaho 1 pounders here. Okay. Big refunds. Okay. Why it's a big deal to us? Independent retailers and importers can recover huge inventory costs and improve cash flow without raising prices. And I tell you, man, like I was talking, I'm in a peer advisory group with a handful of business owners. One of the guys, their name is Justin, and he's a big construction company. And he was talking about how the biggest competitor in this space bought millions and millions of dollars worth of inventory. So now that everybody basically is having to raise their price, the smaller guys, the guys that had all the inventory, are just cleaning house and taking contracts. And literally it'll be like that until they have to buy new inventory and adjust their pricing accordingly. But even though they're the largest guy in town, they're still going to get better pricing than everybody. And my buddy's like, he's in the top 5 in that industry, biggest guy, but nobody's close to number 1. So this could very well be a huge cash buffer for you. But remember how Uncle Sam works, bro. They give you a certain amount of time. Um, you know, don't forget though. Here's the thing: refunds that you get are taxable income, because this is not a tax credit. This is a refund, meaning the money that you paid would have been money that you would have kept in your bank account, which means if you hadn't spent it, that would be income, which is kind of a bummer. It's actually exactly when you need to do it is right now. So if you get a huge sum of money, you know what to do with it by the end of the year. And by the way, that's another big thing here. If you have any questions about this stuff, go to accountingplusaccountability.com, and you can schedule a time to talk with me, talk with AA Ron. Scroll down a little bit, ask a question, but we'll talk about business strategy, consulting. We'll talk about taxes, accounting, payroll, whatever you want to talk about. And this is a big one. So, have any questions about this stuff? Just make sure you go to speak with, or accountingplusaccountability.com, and then talk with AA Ron, a little gold button at the top, and you'll get straight to me. What else is going on? SBA 8 program cuts hit tribal small businesses hard. Fortune reported May 11th that the current administration audits and reforms have slashed federal contracting obligations to tribal 8 firms by 40%. Okay, hold on. What is SBA? What's an SBA 8 program specifically? Hold on. What is, let's just go to Google and ask, what is the SBA program? It's a 9-year federal contracting assistance program designed to help socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses owners gain access to federal procurement markets. Oh, to assist small business owners from by disadvantaged individuals, Native American tribes, Alaskan Native Corps, and Native Hawaiian organizations like that. Now I know why they're cutting it, because you have to understand, they're pushing the 7A 504 programs big time. Like everything is there, so you can see that is where the big push and focus is going, which makes total sense to me. Now that I see it, I get it. So yes, but why that matters to us, because these mom and pop tribal owned contractors, manufacturers, and service providers are going to basically be losing reliable revenue streams. So owners, you need to do some consultation, diversify, make sure that you've got other revenue sources other than these 8A programs. What else is going on in Dun News today? NFIB Small Business Optimism Index ticks up. So, it was down like 95.7, I think. It's up to 95.9 now. Labor quality and inflation remain top concerns. 30% net raise prices last month while uncertainty eased. Why is this a big deal to us mom pop venti shops? Shop owners can now use the data to justify selective price increases, invest in staff training, and build cash reserves, practical steps to stay profitable in a high cost environment. I want to also talk about Amazon's new um, logistics logistics plan. Supply chain, bro. This just got launched, dude. Listen to this. Listen to this. What is Amazon's? I'm going to say, give me a 100-word summary. Give me a. I'm going to go to Gemini. Give me a 100-word summary of. Dude, listen to this. This just got launched last week, and nobody was talking about it. If you guys remember, if you've known me long enough, you know that about 10 years ago, when I saw Amazon testing and piloting their version of USPS in India, I was like, oh my word. USPS has no idea what's coming. They take Amazon's million while Amazon is putting them out of business. And Amazon officially launched their Amazon Supply Chain Services, ASCS, last week, a move designed to replicate their AWS. But this was previously reserved for only the Amazon retailers and third-party sellers. Okay, but they just opened it to all businesses, regardless of size and regardless of whether they sell on Amazon. Did you hear me? Amazon is now providing a unified end-to-end network covering all your freight, all global transport via the ocean, air, rail, and ground, warehousing and distribution, fulfillment, and parcel shipping. Yes, bro. Last mile delivery, man. Yep. Available 7 days a week, 2 to 5 days a week. Dude, this is companies like Procter and Gamble and 3M are already utilizing Amazon's ASCS to streamline their operations. I told you guys this before. You will be able to go, if you have a Prime membership, you'll be able to go on Amazon and ship a package to mom, and it'll be there in 2 days, and it'll cost you a few bucks, and you don't have to go through, and you don't ever have to go to USPS again, because Amazon has successfully basically figured out how to map all the world's roads. And now that they're basically at your house every day, when they go and drop off a package that you bought on Amazon, there's a package there that they're just picking up to deliver to mom. Yeah, bro. It is here. Oh my gosh, dude. I freaking told you. I told you. You guys don't know what Bezos and Musk are doing, man. You don't know it. And it's been, I just heard something chime in this office, and I don't even know what it was. Okay, that's weird because my phone is right here. Okay, that's strange. Anyway, what'd you guys think of that story? Freaking amazing, right? And man, don't forget, if you have questions about business and you want to talk shop or you want to talk strategy, go to accountingplusaccountability.com. We do this show for you guys and for me, mom and pop venti shop owner. We, I just feel that nobody takes care of us. And until you get to somewhere between 25 and 50 team members, do you have discretionary resources to hire some of the weaknesses that you have in your organization? Hiring somebody to help you spin those 7 plates. So, it's a big deal, man. And, if you guys have questions about that, just go to accountingplusaccountability.com. You'll kind of check to see what it is that we do, how we do it. But you can also schedule a time to talk with me. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Talking about business strategy, you want to get this business off the ground. Hey, Aaron, you built this $1,000 business a couple weeks ago. I'd like to talk more about that. Absolutely. And by the way, we're the only accounting firm on earth that basically does grants for new business owners to help them get off the ground. And so, yes, it's true. But it's because we are one of the few accounting firms not owned by accountants. We're owned by small business owners. And many of you guys know my story, but I don't know, it was like 12, 15 years ago, I got railroaded by a small business accountant. And it took me years and years to climb out of the hole. And that's when we made a decision. Nope, we're gonna own this ourselves because we know how to do this. We just got to build a company for us. That's it. Build a company for me, you know? And so, that's all we do here, man. We just build it for us, right? So, but talking about the news, man, the SBA, manufacturing has 50 million grant openings. And David, we were just talking about this last week when you got on the PAG. But how freaking cool is this, man? The SBA is awarding up to 5 million each to 10 organizations for free hands-on training and tech assistance to small manufacturers in critical sectors. Applications are due mid-June. But why is it a big deal? Because independent manufacturers and suppliers can now connect with funded providers for workforce development and modernization at no cost. No cost. This is insano. Insano. Rising gas prices, squeezing independent stations and delivery businesses. But I tell you, the last handful of times that Rebecca and I had gone out of town, or is that proper grammar or English? Went out of town? I don't know. And but what was amazing about it, we rented a Tesla that had full self driving. We spent so much time on the road that it's very taxing to do what it is that we do when we do it. And so yeah, we kind of just made a like decision just to go rent the Tesla with FSD. I'm not even exaggerating. Full trip there, back, you're totally wide awake, you're alert, you're not exhausted from driving on the road. You don't deal with tunnel vision, you don't deal with any of that stuff. And here was the best part. The first time we rented it, we had to do like a marathon to Tulsa to go visit the office. And it was like there and back in one day. And we got back and looked at the supercharge bill. And by the way, they charge up in 20 minutes. 20 bucks. $20. $20. And it's a third that cost when you charge at home. It is. It's crazy. It's like a buck a day when you charge at home. Maybe even less based on where you're at in the country. Insane. But this is a huge deal because all of everybody's costs are going up because of the fuel spike, which if you're not keeping track of your COGS, that's the cost of goods. What you have to pay to run your business, that's the inventory that you have to buy. If it's the restaurant, it's your food. If it's the mechanic, it's your material, it's your parts. It's that. Um, it's erasing your margins, and you've got to be looking at your COGS to make sure your numbers are dialed in. Okay. There, you see, most gas stations make literally almost no money on gas. Most of that is taxes. Okay. But look, why it's a big deal to us? Owners have to monitor their spreads. If you don't do it daily, for sure weekly, and we've got to adjust our pricing accordingly because we already know mom and pop venti shops have the leanest profit margins of any business in existence. And so that's why it's so important for us to watch the pennies. And by the way, if you need help watching your pennies, we've been doing that for 68 years. And so if you have any questions about that, go to accountingplusaccountability.com, accountingplusaccountability.com. Check us out. IRS pushes digital tools for small business compliance. Of course. Thank you, IRS, for finally stepping into the freaking 2020s. IRS highlights free digital filing, payment, and record keeping tools, and a May 12th tax tip aimed at small businesses. So, luckily, and I'm telling you, man, IRS has been going through a major gut, but nobody's talking about it because it's not really in the news. But man, when Elon came in and brought in his Doge team, it was like, right, why are we not doing all of this via software? Everything these people do, a human being that's doing, software can do faster, more accurately, and it doesn't complain at all. And it doesn't take days off, nothing. Nope. Mm-mm. Yeah. But look, shop owners can now cut paperwork and time and penalty risk during 2026 filings, especially with the useful permanent QBI and new expensing rules still in effect. And so, but this is like a plug for you also as a business owner. Keep your records. Okay. It's important to keep your records. And by the way, a little freebie for you guys. If you like to gamble, and you go pretty routinely, like you go at least once a month, okay, um, you know that you are considered a professional part-time gambler, and you know that you have access to write-offs that nobody else really does, specifically in that industry. And if you have questions about that, just go to accountingplusaccountability.com, and there's a gold button up there that says "Talk with Aaron." Click that, and I'll chat with you guys, kind of explain to you guys because there's really really cool things that you guys need to know about. What else is going on in the news? San Fran Prop C small business tax cut on the horizon. So Prop C is going to raise the gross receipts tax exemption threshold to 7.5 mil and accelerate top executive pay tax increases, benefiting roughly 800 small businesses have passed in June. Why is this a big deal? Local independent retailers and service businesses in San Fran can plan budgets and potentially save thousands. Owners should vote or at least engage in your local community, get more info. If you're in Cali, and by the way, this is a big deal because you have to understand when cities pass these, the rest of the cities are paying attention and they're seeing how the market responds. Very similar to the way airlines, like if they add a fee or increase a fee, one airline always has to go first. And you're like the first one that kind of steps out of the stagecoach, and you're like looking for flying arrows. Like, am I going to get shot? You're like, okay, a couple more steps. Okay, okay, okay. So, but cities do the same thing. They see policies, and look, there's nothing new or original out there. We just repackage everything that's been in existence since the beginning of time, And so every word that's ever been spoken before or in the future basically has been already indexed. So it's like we just get to use the world as our inspiration. So anytime a new city comes out and does something, other cities are like, well, that was favorable. Let's do the same thing, or let's modify that. Let's use the base of it, the way Colorado did with cannabis. They were the first one in. The rest of the states were like, let's see how this turns out, within a few years, Colorado is pulling in 400 million a year in tax revenue, and the rest of the states are like, we might like this green plant a lot. We might need to look at this, but always one goes first, you know. All right, what else is going on in the news? Small business ownership transition wave accelerating. Reports show 52% of owners are 45% and older, and 23% are 65 and older. Retirement and succession activity is surging. This is big, bro. Buyers and sellers of mom and pop shops have a hot market. Yep, now's the time to buy. I mean, I've purchased a couple accounting firms in the last couple of years from retirees, and it's a big industry. You got to know how to do it. And by the way, if you have questions about that or how do you do your first acquisition, look, we've done this over and over and over again, done it ourselves, and we've helped lots of our business owners through the same process. We'll do the same thing for you. If you need help with this, just go to accountingplusaccountability.com. You can scroll down, ask a question, or schedule time to talk with me, and we'll get you handled, man. But what else is going on in the news? So we talked about this before, and it's a biggie, man. State minimum wage increases and labor planning for 2026. Multiple states, including Cali, want to go from including Cali to 16.90 an hour, and others have 2026 wage hikes already in effect or locked in. And this is a big deal for us because and California, a lot of you guys are thinking, well, California, no, it's $20 an hour minimum. No, no, that's for fast food workers. And California did that literally because they know that that's the one industry that literally has no power. They can change that literally overnight, and they get basically no pushback. But what's going to happen here, and you guys are going to see this, I'll be the first to predict it. Within 5 years, we will have the Optimus robots. Okay. Now, wait until version 3.0. For sure 2.0, for sure, maybe 2.0, but for sure 3.0. When that comes out, I'm predicting you're going to see in service-based businesses, you go to the dry cleaner and you'll see 3 robots in the back doing all the work, but people will be working with people. Okay. People are going to reject a computer or a robot helping you at the counter. Um, Initially, the same way we kind of initially rejected the cashierless register, you know? And in the beginning, we're like, what? Rid of people? And then now, like, I just intentionally search out that line. I'm like, okay, so I don't actually have to interact with this individual. Okay, cool. It'll be the same thing. But the thing is you have to understand people have to be connected, and we as human beings must have a purpose. And helping people is such a it's such a built-in like God like need that we need to be in community with others, that we as human beings, my prediction is that in the end we're going to see robots doing the stuff behind, but in a sense behind the curtain, and then or behind the house, back of the house, and the front of the house is going to be humans doing the interaction. And I think you're going to see some insano advances in technology and service and everything in the next 10 years. And so this is a big deal. And the more these states increase their hourly rate, the more, and there's going to come a period here in the next 5-ish years where it's actually going to be cheaper. The payment on the robot, it's already today. Once it comes out, it won't be 20,000 when he comes out because he wants to get it down to 20K. Once his robots are 20, 25K, you're talking about a monthly payment of, and let's say you finance it like a car. What is that? $500 a month times 12 is going to be 6 times like 5 is 30 grand. Yeah. So about $500 a month. Listen to me, 500 a month, and you have a 24/7 employee that never complains, never calls in, does the same job 100% of the time. The very first industry this is going to be in, and it will literally completely overhaul the entire industry, restaurants. Imagine this, your famous recipes on recipe cards programmed in a robot. This robot doesn't go home, drink with his buddies, and spill the family secrets. No, he don't. This robot, when it says 3 tablespoons of baking powder, I hope I just said that right. Without question, 1 million years from now, it's going to be 3 tablespoons of baking powder, not 3.5, not 2.5, 3 every time. Perfect recipes, no complaining, no errors, no more complaints from customers. Fixed. That's coming. I know. It's magic, bro. It's magic. It's scary, but also magic. And it's magic if you're like, this giant wave is coming, and I have 2 choices. I can either learn to surf because I have plenty of time. Like, we know that this wave is coming years from now. Okay. You have time to learn to surf, so you're on top of the wave, or the wave will swallow you whole. So if you're the type like me who gets excited and nerds out with this stuff, oh, bro, you don't think I'm already learning how to surf? Yeah, playa, I am learning. Am I good? No, but can I balance on a board? You're darn right. And we're not even there yet. Wait until they come. Okay? It's coming, bro. It is coming, and you better learn how to surf or you will be swallowed whole. Okay? All right. Let's kind of jump into let's see, any other amazing stories we need to chat about today. Well, you guys know that over the weekend, one of my, it was amazing because I talked about this yesterday, but an amazing Mother's Day. And it was really it was both an amazing weekend and also a horrible weekend because amazing. We had both my kids, plus I had, I know, tons of shameless plugs. And, but I also had like, amazing time with the kids. And so both my kids and all four grandbabies were there, and we have four granddaughters. And it was amazing, man. It was great hanging out with everybody. But also, what else was really, really tough was Spirit Airline, my flying bananas, went out of business, man. Hard, hard day. I was jokingly, I've been telling everybody yesterday, I was like, man, you don't understand. I don't even know what it's like to pay triple digits for an airline ticket. I haven't paid triple digits for an airline ticket in years. And when I say that, caveat, if I have to go out of town somewhere and I can't take Spirit, or if I'm forced to fly during peak time, obviously, but that's usually work. But for me personally, no way, bro. I haven't paid triple digits for an airline ticket in years. And my favorite thing to do, man, was because if you went to the airport, people didn't know this. Like, I went to a party years ago, and a flight attendant was at this party. She was a flight attendant for Spirit, and she taught me how to hack Spirit Airlines. And she said, first thing you got to do is you have to understand, when you buy a ticket online with Spirit, every single ticket comes online with a passenger usage fee of like 30 some odd dollars. It's like 36 or $39. And when you buy that ticket at the airport, that gets waived. And that's each way. One way passenger usage fee. You buy at the airport, that gets waived. Then, if the fare online was like around 40-ish bucks, Spirit was the only airline that had dollar fares and penny fares. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm not exaggerating. Dollar fares, penny fares. Okay. Not exaggerating. I have flown to Denver there and back a dollar each way. I've been to Orlando, a dollar there and back, countless times. LA, dollar there, dollar back. Been to Puerto Rico, 75 bucks round trip. Not kidding. Okay. So I would literally buy the cheapest ticket I could find, and then immediately get home and then book one of their like big comfy seats. And it was like the greatest $40 one-way add-on in human history, because you would get one of their like first class seats, okay, which was two seats instead of three. But it was amazing because it was like first one on the plane, first one off the plane. And then we would literally get finished up, and then and it was like great because you'd be like, and there was no hot towels, there was no free cookies. You said to buy all your meals, but like all the chalupas were in the back of the plane crying, like back there, all the plebeians are in the back. And then you're like, yes, lovey, would you pass the gray poupon, please, on Spirit? Like, you just felt like a baller, and so I know I'm being ridiculous, man, but it's the little things that I just love. And I absolutely loved the just the overall hatred of the customer from the customer service agent. But the flight attendants, their humor and candor was like top notch, bro. Like, the flight attendants for Spirit were amazing. Always loved them. The ones that worked at the ticket counters, yeah, you knew they hated their job, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. But it was the experience. But you got all that for, you know, a $20 ticket. You don't mind? I'm just worried about who's going to take these guys' place, man. But man, we had some big, big stuff, man, that happened last couple of days, man. Did you guys hear about, the poor dude that basically ran in front of the airplane? I think it was yesterday, actually, at Denver International. It was like 11:30 at night. Just hops the fence and decides to take his own life, and basically runs across and jumps into the airplane engine, man, and just horrible stuff. But man, that's the reason why we do today's show, man. It is to not pay attention to the rest of the news. And today, because as business owners, we're like, we're just those authentic misfits. We don't feel like we fit in, but we're just the most truest representation of ourselves. And so this show is to get all of us misfits together, and we hang out, we get inspired, we get encouraged, we learn, we laugh. And you guys know we have a handshake agreement. If I made you laugh or you learned a little, we have a handshake agreement. That's us shaking hands with rubber gloves. You agreed that you're going to like and subscribe, right? And so it's a new channel. We've got 50 so shows in. But guys, this show is for us. It's a 1 hour daily church service. We get to come in, we get to hang out, and we get to just hang out with each other and be inspired before we get to work, before the rest of the day kicks us in the teeth. And then the good news is we'll be back tomorrow to put those teeth back in and do it again, right? So let's transition into, if we can, our Tactical Tuesday, because I am so freaking excited. So I promised you guys this a couple weeks ago, but And it was because I read it about in the news, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've got to do a business plan on that." And it was talking about the surge of the handyman, and it's true, by the way. Like, I was actually yesterday visiting with some good friends of mine, Becky and RJ, and they have a humongous upstairs of their house, and it had an enormous game room, enormous. Okay, and so I go upstairs, and I'm like, and they walled in most of the game room because their daughter and daughter's family is moving in, and so they basically added 3 bedrooms? They walled in a master plus another bedroom. So it's now a 6-bedroom home compared to a 4-bedroom home, but the entire upstairs is made for the kids, and they have their own bathroom and everything. I was like, "Man, it looks insane." The texture of the wall, it looked like it gets painted, it looks like it was always there. I was like, "How much you pay for that?" 3 grand. "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we had a couple guys that specialize in drywall. One guy quoted us 6 grand to build in this wall. Another one quoted us 5 grand, and then went to like a handyman. And this guy can do, like do plumbing, do electrical, can do some drywall. 3 grand, handyman, bro. Because a handyman doesn't specialize; they specialize in like everything, which means you're never going to get the. Oh, I ever. Let me take that back. Most of the time, you don't get 10 out of 10 quality. But most of us don't care about 10 out of 10. If you get me 8 out of 10 and you can save me half the cost, I'll take 8 out of 10 any day of the year. Come on now. Can I get a woot woot? Can I get a Of course I can. Ho, ho, ho. Merry freaking Christmas. Now, can we build the $1,000 zero to cash flow in under 90 days business plan? And for all you peeps out there, you know what? I can turn a wrench. I know how to use some tools. Well, how about I just show you real quick how to do that? Can I? You guys cool with that? Okay, let's do that. Zero to our first dollar. All right. And so we break this down by time frames. So like the first 10 days, the next 10 days, we break this thing down. First month, second month, third month. Okay. So here's what we have to do. Okay. We have to define, first of all, what we want to be handyman with. So whenever you do this, you typically don't say, I do everything. No, you can't do that. Not when you start. Start with like the top 10 services or the top 5. Let me give you a handful. Okay. TV mounting, wire hiding. Bro, if you even saw, I got wires everywhere, bro. Okay. Yes, man, it is crazy. Um, Smart home installation. Okay. Ring cameras, Nest thermostats. And like me, I've got these little like Wi-Fi plugins where I plug something in and I can go to the app and turn them on and off. And so you guys know I distill my own water. And so I've got my routine set with these little like automated plugins where my distiller turns on at 11 p.m. at night, and then about 3.5 hours later, I have it turn off. I don't let it go to the full cycle. I turn it off about 30 minutes beforehand. But that's all done through smart programming. All you guys have front porch lights, and all you guys forget to turn them on or turn them off. Set a freaking timer, and you don't want to do it. That's what I'm talking about. As a handyman, these are all of the different rando ideas that you have. Furniture assembly. Man, this is one of the things that we hate doing. And we always go to TaskRabbit to find this person. Okay. Fixture swaps, replacing new handles, new light fixtures, new doorknobs, all that stuff. Okay. Small hole patching. It was funny because I was at Becky and RJ's yesterday, and I noticed they had this hole in the door. I was like, "Oh, that's going to be great for the handyman plug that we're doing today." But use the tools you already have. Okay, there's 5. If you like decent with a paintbrush, okay, paint. If you've got some other skills like electrical, okay, fine. We wire outlets and plugs, and we'll work on your garage door, that type of stuff. But do like the top 5 or 10 services and start there. Start there. Okay. Use the tools you already have. If the job requires specialized tools you don't have, just don't offer that service yet. But get creative. Okay. The phase B. Okay, and this is the infrastructure day 11 to 25. Okay. All right. This is where we have to register a simple DBA. Okay. That's the assumed name. Okay. So check for name availability on Secretary of State website. And literally get an assumed name. That's all you have to do day 1. You don't have to get an EIN number, nothing, none of that stuff. Assume name, and everything goes underneath you. So basically it's you and a part of you, like you're a two-headed Siamese. When you get an assumed name, it's one body, 2 heads. You personally, you business. And then the assumed name certificate is what you give to the bank, and the bank puts that on file, and now you can deposit checks or deposits in the name of that new account. Otherwise, it rejects it, right? Um, get yourself a dedicated Gmail, Google Voice number. That's it. Okay. But set up your Google business profile. It's your most valuable asset. Okay. It's free and places you on the map for local searches. Okay. That's it. That's 11 to day 25. Okay. You're talking 40 to 70 bucks a month. Okay. You literally cannot step into a home without these basic things already lined up. Then we move into like our market strategy. This is day 26 to 50. Okay. We've got to, the goal here is reach and keep. We got to generate leads without a search budget. So our message to the neighborhood, to our audience, has to be professional, punctual, and precise. The three P's. We're professional, we're punctual, and we're precise. And this is where the reach goes into like our neighborhood loop. This is joining your local Facebook and Nextdoor groups. Do not post ads. Please, please, please. Instead, offer a founding neighbor rate. I'm launching a professional home maintenance service. I'm looking for 3 homes this week that need a TV mounted or fan swapped at a flat rate in exchange for a Google review. That's it. The reviews are everything. Physical signal, a clean professional yard sign at your own residence, and any job site. And again, with their permission. And a lot of times they'll work out deals with you. Let's say you're going to charge $100, but like, hey, if I can keep this sign here for like the next 30 days, can I take off $25? And I'll come pick the sign up. You're like, yeah, that's cool. No problem. Okay, cool. But that's it. But here's the thing: respond to every inquiry within 15 minutes. So speed to lead is your primary competitive advantage. Speed to lead is your primary competitive advantage. Okay. That works when you're a business of one. It's very difficult the bigger you get to scale that speed. But when you're one shop and that's all you do, child's play, playa. Child's play. Okay. Especially when you can set up like notifications, all that stuff. Like when you get notification, you can have that stuff ding your phone. Okay. Then we move into basically, and that was phase C. That was the strategy. Okay. That was generate leads without a search budget. Now we go to phase D, which is execution and logistics. And this is day 51 to 75. Okay. And this is where we perform the work and we start building the review engine. Okay. And so when you arrive, text when you're 10 minutes out. Okay. I always use, and I have for years and years, a scheduling calendar scheduling tool. So I use Acuity, but there's Calendly. There's some other really good ones out there. I love Acuity. I've used it since, for years, probably for 15 years, at least 10 years. And so a lot of times the software does it all. But literally, you can have this thing set up like 10 minutes for your appointment on the way, see you in a few minutes. But if you don't do that, you can send the text yourself. But text when you're 10 minutes out. Always wear a clean, tucked in polo. And for the love of God, do not have it bundled in a pile on the floor, all wrinkled. And by the way, I'm not saying don't have your clothes in a pile. I do. I don't know if you've ever met an ADHDer, but they operate in piles, and like groups. And so at any given time, unless I'm in that like weird mode and I have insane amounts of time where I hang everything and color code it from lightest to darkest, from short sleeve to long sleeve, with spacers in between each. Yes, that's this nerd. But I don't have time to do that every day. So until I basically have my own full-time nanny, no, that is not my wife. Then no, I'm going to basically have to just have piles of clothes. And without question, the greatest tool that I have is my little $20 steamer. It is with me at all times, everywhere, and it is the greatest thing ever. So every day, now this was actually hung up, but every day you see me with my shirt on, that shirt, I'm not exaggerating, literally was in a pile wrinkly. Okay. Steam that sucker when you go out. Then when you go down, whatever job you're doing, lay down a drop cloth. I know, rocket science, right? This tiny little act literally commands a 20% premium in the client's mind. Yes. Now, here's where we get the review. Before you leave, confirm this person's 100% satisfied. Then you text them on the way out the Google review link while you're still in the driveway. You got to do it quick, okay? But I'm telling you right now, Google rewards routine and consistency, okay? So just do it. Then let's move into phase E. This is day 76 to 90. It's the first dollar in our profit, Validate the model and capture the revenue. So that we've got to use free invoicing tool or a simple mobile payment link. So we use, gosh, I just lost it for invoicing. I can't think of what it is right now. I'm sure it'll come to me in a second. But they're easy, they're cheap. Okay. Then we've got to, once the money starts coming in, this is really where we step in to help you guys, because we don't really come into play with a new business until they start generating revenue. And then the very first thing that we do when we onboard you as a client, and by the way, if you want to check out what we do, go to accountingplusaccountability.com, and you'll see that we do things different than anybody else in the entire industry. And one of the first things that we do is we build you your own custom cash flow plan, where we literally build you the plan on where the money goes. We've been doing this for years, man, for years. Okay. So I'm telling you, what we set aside for taxes, what do we set aside for owner pay, what do we set aside for business profit, and how much do we allocate to run the business? That's everything. And that's where we really help you guys at the very end make sure we have the cash flow dialed in. Okay. What'd you guys think, man, of the zero to cash flow for the handyman business for under $1,000? This bad boy, under $500, man. It's fast and it's easy, right? Let's burn into our last segment, which is our daily reframe your brain lesson from Scott Adams himself. And you guys know this is my baby right here. Go buy the book, it'll change your life. This was Scott's last book that he wrote before he passed away. He died this year, January 13th of this year. And if you guys can see, that's the picture of my boy right there. Oh, you guys can see that right there where my finger's at. And you don't even understand, bro. My life totally changed because of this book. Oh, bro. I just opened this up. I'm going to read right here. I'm just going to open it right here. Okay. Handling complaints. In my teens, I worked at the Sugar Maples Resort in upstate New York, and I learned a valuable lesson from my boss. One of my jobs involved working the front desk and taking complaints from customers on various like imperfections in their rooms. My boss told me my job was to write down the complaint in front of the guest on a form titled work order. That's how the guest would feel heard. And I could tell from the guest reaction that it worked. They also acted as if they had successfully completed a task. They left the front desk happy. The flaw in their plan is that many of their complaints were logically or practically impossible to fix. That didn't matter. As my boss explained, he told me some guests just enjoy complaining. So if you listen to them, they're happy. You don't even need to fix their problem. The being heard part is what matters most to some guests. We fixed whatever was fixable. So the usual frame, people who complain want solutions. But the new frame, the new way of looking at it, some people who complain just enjoy complaining. But the practical implication of this reframe is that you need to know what people want, not what they ask for. If you deal with enough complainers, you soon learn which ones are doing it for their own entertainment or to feel empowered, and which ones have valid problems in need of fixing. I loved right here. The practical implication of this reframe is that you need to know what people want, not what they ask for. Wow. Wow. There's an obvious way to know in advance the motivation for people's complaints. There's no obvious way to know, but if you can usually figure it out, if you look for a problem in which the complainer puts more effort, puts more energy into the complaint than the solution, and is talking about what the customer wants. And I'm telling you right now, the business that has the closest ear to the customer wins. End of story. They win. Okay. Jeff Bezos was the first one to do this at Amazon in 1996. He started publicly posting his email. The business with the closest ear to the customer wins. Let me say it again. The business with the closest ear to the customer wins, which is why for us mom pop Venti shops, we literally have an unfair advantage. Your problem is that you take your business personally, and you should, and then you take the feedback personally, and you shouldn't. Okay? The 4 C's of feedback: comments, criticism, complaints, compliments. Most of you think 3 of these are bad and 1 is good. False. 3 of these, I just sound like Dwight Schrute. False. 3 of these are great. 1 is okay. Don't tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Because for every 1 customer that has the courage and the vulnerability to share what they don't like, you got to be thinking in your mind, I got 2 dozen customers thinking the same thing that are about to leave or have already left because of the same issue. When you start getting feedback, be positive, not negative. Be grateful. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that you shared that. Let me work on that, man. Let me see what I can do. You mind if I stay in touch with you, and kind of let you know how we do that, or can we just have touch points, or can you check back in to see if we got it fixed? Whatever it is, get excited about the feedback, bro. Nobody else in your business does. What'd you guys think of today's lesson, man? Did you guys enjoy it? Was it the greatest business for breakfast on planet Earth? I know it was. And here's the thing: you guys want to know about peer advisory groups. You want to understand how it is that we do what we do, how it is that we can double your profits in a year, and all that stuff. Easy, easy. Go to accountingplusaccountability.com. And you can schedule a call to talk with me directly. It links right to my calendar. Scroll down a little bit. You can ask a question. But here's the thing, you know, I think you guys know, and you guys hear me say it every day. If you think that it's hard or you think it's easy, you're right. Okay. I want to make sure that you guys are not just working in your business, but you're working on your business, making sure you mind your own business, right? All right, my beautiful peeps, you got the news, you got the tips and tricks. Now you got to go own this day. My name is Aaron Novinger, the Venti Business Guy, and you guys know what time it is. What freaking time is it? It's time to get to work. Oh!